I remember this night when I decided to left my country, or just to think about leaving my country, that when everybody there pressured me to leave, like everything, because our society is so close, our government don't respect women, don't respect I'm thinking about, how I think about life or job or something like that. And they started to pressure me to not doing my job very well, because as I think myself like a tough journalist and talking about women's rights all the time, so they banned me for doing such a subjects or to defend women. So yeah, I'm thinking about this, but what's the way to go outside? I can do so after 30 years, because all my life was in Syria, my country, my home. I feel like I should be there with those people, with those poor people after this war.
In the rural landscape, a significant issue emerges: village depopulation. These once vibrant communities now confront a growing trend of outward migration, particularly among younger demographics who are drawn to the perceived advantages of urban living. This demographic shift accelerates a demographic imbalance with an overrepresentation of elderly residents and undermines the socioeconomic fabric of these locales. As a result, these communities struggle with containing their cultural and economic viability, posing formidable challenges to their sustained existence.
Most reason is that in the big towns there are the universities and they go there for studying. And a lot of them stay then in the city because for the studies there are also the jobs there.
Because the work in the big cities is better and just more to do for them than in a small village.
Because for me it's more attractive here. It's not so big. You have your friends here. You have your social community here, family, etc.
Because the job I want to do once doesn't have many places near here, only further away in Vienna or somewhere. That's why I would move there.
Welcome to our documentary on rural depopulation. Today we dive into the complex phenomenon of people leaving the countryside for urban centers, exploring the reasons behind this migration and its profound impacts on both rural and urban communities. Rural to urban migration, whether by choice or necessity, is driven by various factors. In the European Union, these include employment opportunities, higher wages, better education and training facilities, improved infrastructure and services, as well as social and cultural opportunities. Also, policies such as freedom of movement within the EU facilitate this migration, while agricultural decline in rural areas further pushes people towards urban centers in search of alternative livelihoods. The effects of rural depopulation are felt deeply in both rural and urban settings. While migrants contribute to economic growth by filling critical labor gaps in urban areas, rural regions experience population decline and disinvestment. Socially, migration increases diversity and cultural exchange, yet it can strain infrastructure and lead to issues such as racism. Moreover, overpopulation in cities can diminish the quality of life in rural areas. In Europe, far-right groups have capitalized on immigration issues to gain electoral support. They often frame immigration as a threat to national identity and culture, citing concerns about security, economic impact, integration, and assimilation. Populist appeals highlight immigration as a neglected issue by mainstream parties, while some advocate for more strict control over borders and reduced immigration levels to address fears of demographic change. The scale of migration, both internal and international, has seen significant shifts over the decades. In 1970, there were 90 million international migrations worldwide, rising to 153 million in 1990 and reaching 281 million by 2020, equivalent to 3.6% of the global population. In contrast, internal migrations surpassed international figures with a staggering 740 million recorded in 2009 alone, highlighting the magnitude of rural depopulation on a global scale.
Hello, my name is Jose Carlos, I'm 23, and I come from a really small village in Spain called Purchena. And there, all the young people, when we have like 18-year-old, when we finish the high school, we really need to go to other city close there in order to continue with the studies. And I think this is really a problem because, for example, to me, I needed to go from my town to another city called Granada. And I mean, it's not so bad to be there on the city, but I left behind all my family, I left behind some of my friends there. So somehow it's so sad. Right now in Purchena, it is taking part like several projects that try to change a little bit this rural exodus problem. For example, trying to generate like more jobs for young people. Also trying to make like a funny project that can keep the young people there. And I don't know, I hope one day this problem find a really good solution so I can come back with my family and who knows, maybe live there again.
Now we are going to another problem that Europe is facing: migration. Migration takes many forms, each with distinct impacts. Internal migration shifts labor markets regionally, while international migration spans borders involving complex legal processes and cultural adaptation. Both have profound economic effects from local to global scales. Immigration within the EU is driven by multiple factors. Individuals are drawn by economic opportunities, including job prospects and higher wages, as well as access to quality education and training programs. Additionally, family reunification and humanitarian reasons, such as fleeing conflict or persecution, contribute significantly to migration patterns. As immigrants settle in EU countries, they bring about a range of effects. Economically, they contribute to labor markets, fill skill gaps, and stimulate economic growth. Socially, immigration enriches cultural diversity and can foster social cohesion, though it may also present integration challenges. Politically, immigration policies and debates shape political landscapes, influencing public opinion and government policies. Demographically, immigration helps counteract population decline and aging, supporting sustainable development. However, immigration also possesses challenges. Integration barriers, social tension, and strain on public services are among the key issues faced. Despite these challenges, immigration offers numerous opportunities for economic growth, cultural enrichment, innovation, and demographic revitalization. In conclusion, immigration within the EU is a multi-faced issue with far-reaching implications. Addressing its challenges and maximizing its opportunities require comprehensive policies and cooperation among EU member states.
I decided to do my European voluntary service in Austria with an organization here in Trofaiach in 2015, and which is now known as European Solidarity Corps. And I was offered a job. So 2 months before the European voluntary service finished, I was offered a job and I decided to stay here in Austria. There were positive and negative sides to it, I would say. It has been challenging in certain regards, like the language, for example, or getting used to the new way of life. But on the other hand, all the benefits of living in Central Europe with a decent salary and well-organized countries prevailed, I would say. Yeah, well, the story is a little bit longer. So I was working in an NGO in Macedonia, in Skopje, and I represented that NGO here at one youth exchange that we did also in 2015. So I was here as the youth leader, and then we saw that we were working well together. So I came here and started working with Katja, and it turned fruitful. So then I got the job, and we eventually created our own NGO, because the job I was working at was a company hosting a dorm for refugees, minor refugees, through which you couldn't really do youth projects. But we found the NGO to create youth exchanges and deliver trainings for people working with other young people. So yeah, it was what I used to do back home. I just continued here with a different target group, because after the migration crisis, it just, we all of a sudden had a lot of refugees in Austria.
In recent decades, waves of migration from conflict zones and regions of economic hardship have surged towards European shores. The Syrian civil war, unrest in North Africa, and other crises have propelled millions to seek safety and opportunity. These mass movements have tested the capacities of nations and the European Union as a whole. The sheer numbers have strained resources and sparked debates on integration and humanitarian obligations. In response, the far right in Europe has seized upon this issue, crafting a narrative that resonates with many. They argue that mass immigration threatens national identity and cultural cohesion. Economically, they assert that immigrants have taken jobs away from native citizens and drive down salaries, igniting debates on labor markets and wage levels. Integration and assimilation are also points of contention. Far-right groups express skepticism about immigrants' ability to integrate into society and adopt the values of their host countries. Some far-right parties criticize the European Union's immigration policies, arguing they undermine national sovereignty and control over borders. They call for greater autonomy in immigration decision-making. With international migration standing at the 3.6% of the global population, as we mentioned, these contrasting views on migration shape the complex landscape of European politics. As Europe navigates the intricate tapestry of migration, the far right's response reflect deep-seated concerns about identity, security, and economic stability. The upcoming European election looms, and the issue of migration stands as a pivotal point of contention.
One day, the Austrian parliament invited me to talk about the women's situation in Syria. So I came here and I talked about a lot of things, and especially about women, about their rights to live, just to live, not to do a lot of things, to live their life like they want to find a job, or they want to like be without hijab, or blah, blah, blah. When I talk about this situation in the statement in the parliament, I feel like I'm talking about a lot of tough things and very dangerous things. So I applied for asylum after my Schengen visa finished or expired. This day was the most difficult day because I feel myself like in jail. Like, what's my expectation about the life in Austria, in Europe in general, as a refugee? I'm gonna face a lot of, or meet a lot of people, a lot of strange people, if I can do so, or if I can call them so. And I don't have the language, or don't know how to speak in German. And this is the most difficult thing I feel all the time, because, okay, my Arabic language, it's my mother tongue. I can speak English, but I can't find a job without a German. And this is a very tough thing for people. And especially when you have everything in your country. You have a good job, a house for yourself. And they put us in a camps like anybody else, like a prisons, not like human beings. They gave us like a very, very cheap salary. I don't know how to call it, but it's not enough for food. And they forced us to live, for example, with the same people I faced in my hometown, like people who forced me to be Muslim, for example. Don't to talk about this, or don't to do a lot of things, or why you are not fasting in Ramadan. Okay, far away from the situation, why they forced me to be with those people. And the most important thing, I feel like it wasn't in my expectation, the life in Europe until now, 2 months ago, to be waiting. Waiting for what? I have my skills. I have education degree. Why I gonna wait for the permission to work? I can't work in any work, you know? But no, you're gonna wait for that. You're gonna just be with those people, those maybe I can't call them like a tourist, no, but they are like very close, like ISIS in Syria, like every government in Syria, because we divided to 3 governments, at least 3 governments, and they are very, very tough with us and dangerous.
So, what are you hopeful for?
I mean, I really have high hope for the future, and I think that the kids from today, maybe in a few years, there will be more opportunity in my town, so they can find a good job there, or even who knows, even continue with their studies there. So I'm really happy about the future. I think that the problem will be solved.
So, being an immigrant myself and working with immigrants, I'm hopeful, or I'm hoping for a future with a lot of young people, thoughtful, aware and tolerant, so that we coexist in this soup of a country and mixture of people with migrational background together and peaceful, and that we find a common language to live together and to create and go forward and, well, upwards, I would say.
I hope, that's my hope, one day my country be a safe place to live in, and someone help this country to have the opportunities for women, especially for women, because men most of the time find a lot of things, and to save them from violence, from society, from ISIS, from Assad government, from SDF government, from everybody there. And yeah, we will, all of us, gonna return to our home, our country, Syria.